Today, we're taking a deeper look at an organization that many people have heard of, but few truly understand. Prager U will explore who founded it, how it operates, what it claims to be, what it actually is, and the question, is it accredited? Let's begin. But first, my name is Antoinette Chanel. Welcome to my channel. Prager U was founded in 2009 by talk show host and author Dennis Prager and screenwriter-producer Alan Estrin. They set it up as a 501c3 nonprofit media organization, and it was based in the San Fernando Valley of Los Angeles, California. As for leadership, the CEO, whose name is Marissa Streit, has served in that position since 2011. In terms of funding and donors, the organization was supported early on by conservative donors, including fracking industry billionaires such as Dan Wilkes and Ferris Wilkes. So while it uses university in the name, it doesn't actually function as a true university. According to its own website, Prager U's mission is to promote American values through the creative use of digital media, technology, and edutainment. It presents 5-minute videos, short documentaries, animations, and other digital content on topics like politics, economics, history. And it's often packaged as coming from a Judeo-Christian conservative viewpoint. They often target young viewers with ads on platforms like YouTube and other social media platforms. And the goal is to act like an alternative for young people who are being corrupted by left-wing messages. I actually have a quote here from Dennis Prager, who describes the American collegiate system as being very left-leaning. It also offers programs for schools, one example being Prager U Kids, and an academic partnership program that allows schools, colleges, and universities to use its program in their classrooms. Here's the key point though. Despite the name being Prager U, this is not an educational institution of any kind. They are not accredited to operate as a university. So this means they cannot grant degrees, certifications, or diplomas. Sorry y'all, me and the ground crew had the same idea at the same time today. So if you're hearing a bunch of noise, it's their fault. They are simply a nonprofit organization that produces content. So it's allowed to operate, but it's not allowed to function as a university in the traditional sense. In fact, many news outlets and organizations describe it more as an advocacy media group than a higher education institution. But Prager U has moved beyond purely online videos. Their materials have been used in K-12 classrooms all throughout the United States as supplemental materials. For example, as of 2023, at least 8 K-12 schools have approved the use of Prager U materials in their classrooms. The state of Florida has even approved Prager U to be an education vendor for the state, specifically noting its alignment with the civics and government standards that the state upholds. But I still want to come back to the point that being approved as an educational vendor is not the same as having accreditation to operate as a university. It simply means that the state decided that this material could be used in their classrooms. It's probably optional, but it's something that students can reach for, that teachers can use. And critics often argue that Prager U's use of the university term questions the intent and transparency of the organization. So what does this all mean for you as a viewer, as an educator, or as somebody who just consumes media? If you see Prager University somewhere, you might assume academic credential. Understanding that this is really just a media nonprofit clarifies what's actually going on. Because Prager U's content is used in classrooms, the question of ideology, bias, and reliability becomes relevant. Some educators and watchdogs have raised questions about how Prager U's content presents things such as race, history, or climate? From a broader perspective, how do we define education? Does it have to be a degree-granting institution, or can it be any organization that facilitates learning? Prager U pushes the latter boundary. As you create content, teach, or advise students, knowing the line between accredited institution and media organization is important. You might include visuals of one of Prager U's videos in your class lecture, but then overlay the text that says no degrees, no diplomas. That sort of drives the point home. You might also mention that despite heavy online reach, there is no accrediting organization that has granted Prager U the ability to issue diplomas, degrees, or certificates. They, by their own website and external sources, acknowledge that. And this creates room for your commentary, because the name suggests one thing, but what they actually do is another. Looking a little bit further at the organizational side of Prager U, we see that for a nonprofit, their revenue is donation-based. Early filings show jumps in their revenue around the late 2010s. They are headquartered in Los Angeles. They produce digital content, license it, make partnerships with schools and teachers, and license to other platforms. The U in their name is strictly for branding. The trademark filing shows Prager University Foundation as the name that they filed under. Because they don't offer any accredited credentials, anytime states agree to use their materials in their classrooms, they are functioning as a vendor, not as an accredited institution, not as a degree-granting body. So, as we reflect on Prager U, there's just a few things to remember. It was founded in 2009 by Dennis Prager and Alan Estrin. It operates as a nonprofit media organization. The mission is to promote Judeo-Christian conservative values and views. They are not an accredited university, and they are used increasingly in K-12 classrooms as supplemental materials, but questions have been raised about the ideology and bias presented in these materials. And so I guess the best note to end this on is that in a time when deception seems to be ever more pervasive with things like deep fakes and AI and all of the other ways that people sort of trick the system and cheat the system, Prager University is not exempt because they are masquerading around as an institution of higher education when they really are nothing more than a nonprofit that creates fancy videos. They spread ideology and certain propaganda through these videos that benefits conservatives quite a bit. And they don't seem very caught up in the idea that they don't grant any sort of diplomas or certifications or degrees, despite calling themselves a university. But I think that we, the public, should demand more. I feel like we should demand greater accountability so that a institution can't call itself a university or use U to imply that it's a university when it's actually not. But then again, even within the college system, there are accredited institutions that are super corrupt, stealing money from students, promising them great careers with lucrative salaries that never come to fruition, and instead those students who were already low income in the first place are left with high balances that they struggle to pay off for an education that they never even earned. Those are my thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. I appreciate you. If you liked this video, you feel like you learned something about Prager U that you didn't know before, please give it a thumbs up because that helps other people on this platform to be able to find it. Also, if you enjoy my content, consider hitting the subscribe button so that you can see all my videos and my playlists. And I'd love to see your comments down below about what you think about Prager U. Did you think this was a university, or did you know from jump that, nah, this isn't real, this is a nonprofit that's masquerading as an educational institution? I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much, my friends, and I'll catch up with you in the next video. Bye! You've just watched one of my videos, but did you know there's an entire Antoinettiverse? On my namesake YouTube channel, I dive into current events and share my critical commentary. Over on Instagram, you can keep up with my life as a writer and educational specialist. On the Write Life blog, I explore how reading, writing, and emotional expression help us to grow. And on my Substack, I publish personal essays and sometimes share sneak peeks from my upcoming book. Wherever you join me, thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.